the most recent FBI data indicates there's not a 50-50 chance someone will be arrested following a murder. But Sacramento County is bucking the trend. The Sheriff's Department made arrests in 8 out of 10 homicide cases so far this year. So what can other agencies learn from Sac County? Well, we got an inside look at the real-life CSI tools and techniques that set Sacramento apart.
Now to an arrest in a crime that police say tears at the fabric of community safety. A homeless man charged in the attack and murder of a woman with autism. Her body found along the American River Trail.
It was a brutal crime that rocked the region. 20-year-old Emma Rourke went out for a walk and never came home.
So you can't unsee this. This is as bad as it gets.
The young woman with special needs was tied up, raped, and murdered.
This type of evil will not define the city of Rancho Cordova.
The suspect? A transient man who detectives were able to identify, locate, and arrest in a matter of days, despite the fact he had no known address. One of 19 homicide arrests out of 22 murders in Sacramento County so far this year, where the Sheriff's Department does make arrests in the majority of homicide cases each year. A stark contrast to the national average, where FBI data reveals homicide arrests plummeted to just over 50% in 2020, a 50-year low. Your agency has one of the best homicide clearance rates in the country. Why?
Well, it's not an accident, and it's not luck. There's a couple of reasons.
Sacramento County Sheriff Scott Jones explains much of their success is due to staffing. They have 3 dedicated homicide teams, each with 5 experienced investigators rotating through 10-day shifts to avoid burnout. And those teams have help.
We also have some cutting-edge stuff that is, well, frankly, we were the first agency in the country to use some of this stuff.
He notes they were the first local law enforcement team to use the crime-fighting database Palantir for street-level crimes. It was initially used by the FBI and CIA to track terrorists. Jones says his department was also the first to create a video surveillance registry, where citizens could register their home cameras to be used in investigations, a program that faced criticism from privacy advocates. And Jones credits a combination of license plate readers and ShotSpotter technology for enabling them to identify suspects and witnesses even when shootings aren't reported.
What we found when we got ShotSpotter was that a lot of gunshots went unreported, which was shocking to us, but in some neighborhoods, I guess it's routine or they don't want to call the police.
He says Crime Stoppers is another valuable tool. The tip line, based in Canada, ensures tips stay anonymous and can't even be subpoenaed by U.S. courts.
So this is our evidence room.
Lieutenant Girdlestone, who oversees centralized investigations, credits a mixture of modern technology and old-school police work for their high homicide arrest rate.
What you get in the first 24 to 72 hours is pretty much what you'll get. Being proactive instead of reactive on these cases is kind of paramount for homicide investigations.
And once they've collected that evidence, forensics are key. They use tools like this IBIS ballistics identification system, which can trace a shell casing back to a gun used in previous crimes. So every gun sort of has a unique fingerprint.
It does. And you're able to test that with our IBIS system.
They also work closely with the Sacramento DA's office, which pioneered the genetic genealogy crime technology famously used to solve the Golden State Killer case. Your relationship with the DA's office gives you access to their DNA technology.
Correct. We can get a rush on it and have that information back by the next morning, and we're never stopping.
And he notes quick DNA was crucial in the Emma Rourke case. They got a match on the suspect from a previous arrest. He hasn't entered a plea. The public defender tells us they're still reviewing the evidence. The Sheriff's Department says they also relied on surveillance cameras, cell phone data, and old-fashioned detective work to identify and track down the transient suspect and make an arrest.
The manpower, I mean, those guys and gals on that team, they'd specifically 24/7 pushed everything they had to that family.
And while Emma's parents declined an interview, in a statement, her father credited the team, saying, "We are most grateful for the thorough investigation of Emma's death," adding, "The homicide detectives in the case showed Emma's mother and me a great deal of compassion as well." Now, there are some limitations. Sacramento County has one of the largest agencies in the country. Smaller agencies may not have the staffing or resources to be able to pay for some of these tools, but Jones suggests they consider partnering with larger agencies or the FBI to gain access to some of these tools for free.